Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That mouthful of a movie title. This is from this year, just released today. It's from 2022, of course, like I just said, and it's 2 hours and 7 or 8 minutes long, if you count all the foreign credits at the end. It is in IMAX format, so yeah, if you have a TV that's big enough to really make use of that as compared to like a computer screen that's so big, or a tablet or whatever, or your phone, God forbid. Yeah, make use of it. But on the 4K IMAX format, whatever it is, on your big stinking TV. That's what you should do. I was gonna do this late last night, but being that this is being recorded after I usually post this, but after the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi and the new Ms. Marvel episode, I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna try this in the middle of the night. So here I am scrambling to get it out now to talk about it. This is, of course, the sequel to the original Doctor Strange film, and as many have figured out, this is Doctor Strange is kind of the Tony Stark of this era, the linchpin character at the center of it all, in many ways. He's kind of the one everything comes back to and shoots out from, because now he's pretty much in the center of what's to come. Kevin Feige recently just said that we're going to find out truly what this Phase 4 is heading toward, if we haven't already figured it out. There's a humongous amount of hints in this one. We could be completely wrong, but odds are we are heading towards an incursion of catastrophic proportions, or many of them, in the Secret Wars. So there's so many opportunities in that, and it will, if it ends the way I think it's going to end, if it ends at all, it's going to tremendously change the Marvel Cinematic Universe in ways that many of you probably can't comprehend if you don't read the comics. The comics have played with the Secret Wars theme and everything else. It means different things in different eras, let's just say. Secret Wars from the 80s, completely different story from the Secret Wars of the last, like, 2015 or so. Some very big things came out of that. So let's just say the best of each of the universes, each of the corners of the many Marvel universes that exist at different studios, all rose together and became one. The best stuff, hopefully, will join together. Anyway, I should really talk about this film rather than guessing at what's to come. And okay, one last thing though. Odds are, if they have a presence at San Diego Comic-Con this summer, we'll probably find out there, but we'll really know by September at D23 Expo in Anaheim. I'm betting money that's where we're going to get all the big reveals. If they don't do some sort of other outside kind of thing separate from those conventions, I don't know. But in the past, that's where we got all the big announcements of Ms. Marvel, Moon Knight, She-Hulk, all these things. At D23 Expo in 2019. So, being that Disney is the granddaddy owner of Marvel now, they're going to probably reserve the best stuff, the big announcements, for that show. Although San Diego is usually also a pretty big place to drop some bombs, so not in the negative sense. News. Anyway, this film is very much Marvel's first dip into horror, and it's not their first dip into horror. It's the most visible, at least on a film level, and that says a lot. These films tend to, of course, be, while they're mature in many ways, they're also meant to not alienate children. Children are going to love their superheroes of all types, especially Spider-Man and things like that. But this one actually, of course, rolls out of Spider-Man No Way Home, which came out a few months before. Um, Even though you could have not seen the Spider-Man film and still appreciated this one, there are references to Spider-Man in this, just nods in a sense. Um, but by the way, I'm gonna probably spoil some things. I don't think I have yet, but I'm probably gonna spoil some things here and there. It's You've had a good couple of months, and if you're really a hardcore Marvel fan, you've already seen this movie multiple times already, or at least once, or whatever. If not, I suggest right now, of course, if you like Marvel, if you're even just a casual Marvel fan, this is a super important film in the framework of everything. Whether you've just watched the shows on Disney Plus or you've seen a few of the movies here and there, this is a super important film out of all of them. So go watch that now. It's on Disney Plus right now, the whole thing. So after that, come back here and we can talk about other stuff and what you may have had questions about. Hopefully, I can answer and maybe give you ideas you never thought might be included. Might roll out of this. But in this, we deal with Stephen Strange, who is literally the biggest superhero in the world right now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because Captain America is gone, the one that Steve Rogers that they know. The Iron Man definitely gone. Thor, he's out in space with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's those are the big three. And most of the world doesn't even know who Captain Marvel is, except through, well, as if you're watching Ms. Marvel, Scott Lang talks a lot. So I guess he has a podcast or wrote a book or something, and he described a lot of heroes that were involved in saving the universe. And yeah, so people know who Captain Marvel is. But the one that kind of gets the big credit here, the one that's still earthbound in many ways, even though he jumps around universes and dimensions, is Doctor Strange, living there in Bleecker Street, right there in Manhattan. People kind of know that he's there. I don't know if the house makes itself invisible to, or indistinguishable to passerby or not, like they do in the comics. Only if you know you need to be there are you able to find it. I don't know. But in this, we have Stephen. He's technically should be on top of the world, but when you save the galaxy, can you still find happiness? I mean, you should be like, man, I'm a big deal. I saved the universe. But one of the recurring questions throughout this, especially asked by his old girlfriend Christine, played by Rachel McAdams, is, "Are you happy, Stephen?" And a lot of this, that's the crux of this film, and it's as we also see, and this is kind of a theme, but it's a kind of it's kind of a theme between this and Spider-Man, the fact that when there's sacrifice, when you have to sacrifice for the greater good, is it worth the sacrifice, or do you have to make the sacrifice in order for things to go somewhat your way? I had friends who were not really happy with Spider-Man because Peter doesn't get a happy ending at that, and no dirty minds there. He doesn't get technically a happy ending. Spoilers, he doesn't get the girl. He loses somebody in his life. He who is a guiding force in his life, and he's forgotten by everyone he ever known, anyone he's ever known and loved, and he has to break out on his own and be his own person, and that's heartbreaking. But he did it to save everyone, to make things better. And what's asked of Stephen early in this film is there any other way you could have done this? Where a former coworker of his goes, I lost my cats, I lost my brother due to the blip. Is there any other way that could have gone? And he's like, no, there couldn't have been. And everything would have worked out much, much worse. There's only one solution that would have saved this world. Most people don't know what the multiverse is. Most people wouldn't be able to comprehend the the idea of it. And most people would be tempted at making use of the multiverse to their own ends, to their own happiness. And that's what we have in Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. If you haven't watched WandaVision, whether you don't like didn't watch it because of the TV format of it, whatever, I'm not going to take the time to explain to you why you're really missing out. But it's still, it's the main thing you need to have watched to fully understand what's going on here in this film, because Wanda is the big bad in this. She in that series created children with her powers, and they were never real, but she believes that somewhere out there is a means to have them again, where a reality where they still exist, even though they technically weren't real. The villain in this, who she is the villain, for all intents and purposes. The best villains are motivated by, well, pure motivations, by good motivations, at the expense of all others, expense of everyone else. And that's what makes Wanda a great, terrifying villain. This came out around Mother's Day, and I was telling people it was a great Mother's Day film. So, because what mother wouldn't just literally tear the world asunder just to protect her children? And that's what we have in Wanda. She sees this as a selfless act. She sees this, well, she admits that it's selfish, because it's what she wants more than anything, to be with her boys. But how she goes about it, what she's willing to sacrifice, everyone else, including this young woman named America Chavez, played by, I cannot pronounce her first name, Chotli Gomez. I know I messed that up. But America Chavez is her character's name, and she's been in the Marvel Universe for a little while now, and she can jump between realities under her own power. Here, she's not too skilled at it just yet, and she's sort of getting knocked around, moving between these things uncontrollably, usually when she's scared. And it's a matter of getting her powers under control that will hopefully save the day in this. But in a lot of this, Wanda sees her as the key to getting to a reality where she can be with her children and continue to visit other realities should anything go wrong. Like, what if you you're finally with your kids and something happens where one of them is mortally injured or dies? Well, you just go to another reality, get another version of the kid, right? That's how desperate Wanda is. And while we can't ever truly sympathize her on a power level that we would have the ability to do such a thing, we can fully understand the desire to do anything for your children. It's a universal thing, especially when you've lost everything. Wanda has lost everything. She's lost the man she loves. She's lost her family. Even before that, her brother in Age of Ultron, and before that, her parents. And she was manipulated and used by Hydra and by Ultron. And she has every reason to be angry, every reason. And she makes her choice to take what she needs to get what she wants. In this, we have not somebody who wants to take over the world or to even destroy the world, or she just wants control of her own world. And Doctor Strange, of course, is put up against her. Benedict Cumberbatch, which I haven't said that already, we should know that, but he steps in and says, look, you know what, I'm defending this girl, even though other Doctor Strange before him was trying to do the same thing, until he realized that he had to use her power in order to protect the greater good, leaving America very much not trusting of anybody who comes into her world, and wondering if she can trust anyone to not use and abuse her for their own ends. Even if it's a good reason to save the galaxy, save the universe, the people are willing to sacrifice her. Will Stephen sacrifice her because of this? And that's the core of the story. I can go on and on and on about that. I'm not going to tell you the entire story. You should just watch the movie. Uh, it's the joy of it. One of the great things is about this, since it is very much in the horror realm, there's a lot of body horror. There's some twisting and everything else. There's a lot of humor in this, but of course, when it comes to horror, you get nobody better than Sam Raimi as the director, who returned after doing the first three Spider-Man films. He has returned with Danny Elfman doing the music, and I made my promise myself that I would not forget to make this point. Danny Elfman's music in this literally becomes a physical component of the film, of the action. That's one of the great things I love about this. If you don't know who Danny Elfman is, he's done tons of soundtracks over the year. Usually anything Sam Raimi directs, he does music for. But Danny Elfman used to be a lead singer of Oingo Boingo, an 80s new wave band, and it's great when you suddenly hear these guitar things. Normally it's just orchestral compositions and things like that. Well, you know, you get these little guitar kind of things thrown in there every once in a while, and that was a great description of a guitar. I can tell. Getting my point across. But you get those kind of little flourishes that really only Danny Elfman can really pull off. It's like if it would be strange if somebody else who was composing this suddenly went off in that direction. You can't necessarily say that Hans Zimmer was going to just let's throw in a guitar riff in the middle of the action. No, but when you go Danny Elfman, that's a choice, and you're like, oh yeah, well, it's that Danny Elfman. That makes complete sense. If you've heard any of his previous soundtracks, you understand. You understand where he's coming from. And like I said, his music becomes a physical component in a battle, and it is freaking awesome. So, just for Danny Elfman fans, the Batman films. Well, he does a lot of stuff with Tim Burton too. I should say, maybe not always Sam Raimi, but Tim Burton. Batman films, Nightmare Before Christmas, so many other things. So yeah, Danny Elfman hasn't always worked with Sam Raimi, has he? But he did do the Spider-Man films. So yeah, a lot of the genre directors he does. And by the way, the Papa Pizza guy, if you're wondering who that is, some of you obviously you know who he is. You know who Bruce Campbell is. Sam Raimi cut his teeth, rose to popularity off of the Evil Dead films and Army of Darkness, which is considered a classic, all of them are. But when it comes to horror, you'll find Bruce Campbell, a very young Bruce Campbell in the 80s, at odds with his own hand. Let's just say, fighting off his own hand, sometimes connected, sometimes detached, but to find himself battling with his hand once again in one of the dimensions that Doctor Strange visits is kind of a nice little throwback. And of course, you want to stay to the very, very, very end of the film, and we'll revisit him again. There's two after-credit sequences. One that reveals a very important character to this Doctor Strange mythos, and will be a humongous thing coming forward, because the person is played by a very famous actress. So they're not going to just go, oh, well, they just threw that in there. Never going to revisit that again. She's never going to show up again. No, she's super important. Yeah, so we get all these elements of the Marvel Cinematic Universe thrown in here. This is the kind of, like I said, this is the kind of movie that we're going to be able to look back on and go, oh, they referenced this here. They referenced this here. And while I thought going into this would have a tighter connection to What If and to even Spider-Man, it doesn't. It actually, from what Kevin Feige has said, this has he's a producer, if you don't know. He's kind of the godfather of all this stuff. He moves all the pieces around. This has a very strong connection to Loki, the series, and the characters introduced in that film. Not necessarily Loki himself, but the idea of variance and the idea of a very big bad that is on his way is going to be, it's coming. So yeah, this is for me. Just watching this is exciting. Beyond just the solid acting, the solid characterization and motivation for the characters, music, and all the little Easter eggs thrown throughout. Uh, Not the least of which is the already super spoiled. It's if you don't know this, I'm going to say it now. I'm going to warn you. This is super spoilery, but the introduction of the Illuminati. This is a group of characters that are slightly different in the comics, but are made up of characters we have not seen before in the Marvel Universe proper, played by actors who have played these characters before, and some who have been the character we've been begging that we've been begging this actor to play for a really long time, and who knows, might again in the future. We might know this summer. We'll see. But yeah, it's But the great thing about this multiverse thing is that it could, while these actors are playing these characters right now, it could be a completely different actor playing them in a different reality. So we've had 3 different Spider-Mans played by 3 different actors, all Peter Parker. So yeah, we get introduced to, of course, Captain Carter, who is we saw in the What If series. She took the super soldier serum rather than Steve Rogers. She became the Captain America, not Captain Britain, but Captain America, in a sense, Captain Carter of her universe. And she's one of many who exist throughout the multiverse. We get to see the Inhumans. We get to see Black Bolt, played by the same man who played him in the Inhumans, the infamous Inhumans series. And we get to see Captain Marvel. We get to see Professor X, played by Patrick Stewart once again, who said he would never play the character again. But this is a different type of character. Different type of Patrick Stewart as Professor X. And the one that got the biggest cheer when I was in the theaters, when I saw it the first few times in the theaters, I did. How many times did I see? I saw it a lot. John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four. It's always been teased that maybe he and his wife Emily Blunt might play Mr. Fantastic and the Invisible Woman. There's no telling that they will in the future, but what we have right here in this movie, we get our little wish come true, and yeah, it got the biggest response, and he looks great. He played it perfectly for the short amount of time that he was on screen. And like I said, this is very much a horror film because one of our heroes is very much gone off the deep end. And let's just say when she decides to dispatch those who stand against her, she does it in spectacular fashion. And it is something to be seen. It is easily the most upsetting aspect of the film for people who are just Wanda fans, and people, of course, love Wanda, love the Scarlet Witch from the WandaVision and the previous films she had been in. Of course, they empathize with her. They sympathize with everything she's gone through, especially Captain America, Civil War, and of course Age of Ultron, all that stuff that she had been a part of, and of course the Infinity War stuff and loss of Vision. All that stuff was we're rooting for her. We kind of want to root for her here too, but when she goes hard, she really goes hard, and we realize the kind of power she has is beyond what most people would expect her to have. And it makes she could have taken out Thanos herself in 616 or the MCU, the proper one, had she not lost Vision. Had certain things gone a different way, in a number of ways, she had the power to take out Thanos. Believe it or not, had he not gotten a hold of the Infinity Gauntlet, it's interesting to think about. That's what If is for, so maybe we'll get to examine that. I don't know. But anyway, there is so much to talk about in this film, and I've already gone almost 25 minutes. I really can't bore you any further. I'm sure I could. I'm probably very good at it. But there's lots to talk about, lots of questions, and I wanted to take care of this right away rather than wait a couple years. I've been wanting to talk about this since it came out, and now I am. So, Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness is highly recommended, especially if you're a Marvel fan. If you're a Marvel fan, I really don't need to tell you that. You've seen this months ago, so watch it again. And there's all sorts of extras, I think. I'm not sure, but check it out. Let's pick tomorrow's episode.
6.
Wow. Whoa. 6 all the way down. Come on. All the way down to 6. Is it one of the Dalmatians? Nope. Okay, this is interesting. I am not really sure what this is. It seems to be like it's a series, I think. But I honestly don't know. We'll find out. We're going to watch it tomorrow. It's called 80s Top 10. I love the 80s, if you can't tell from all the crap around me here. Flash Gordon, video games, Weird Al, all that stuff. I love the 80s, so 80s Top 10. It's a docu-series, I guess, about the 80s. I don't really know. A reality series? I have no idea. But I've seen it here. So we'll check it out tomorrow. The 80s Top 10 on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow.